Dear student, today let us do fourth chapter of Geography. The name of the topic is Agriculture. Children, agriculture, the practice of farming including cultivation of the soil for the growing of crops and the rearing of animals to provide food, wool and other products. That is the meaning of agriculture. So now let's start the lesson. Gurpreet, Madho and Tina were walking through the village where they saw a farmer tilling land. Gurpreet, Madho and Tina, as they were walking through the village, at the time they saw a farmer. He was tilling land, means he was making his land by ploughing or by digging in order to grow crops. The farmer told them that he was growing wheat and had just added manure to the soil to make it more fertile. So the farmer, he told them, to Gurpreet, Madhu and Tina, that he was growing wheat crop, okay, and as he was growing wheat crop, so he had added here what? Just added manure. Manure means the fertilizers to the soil in order to get good harvest, boys. We used to uh, spread this manure to the soil to make it more fertile. He told the children that the wheat would fetch a good price in the mandi, from where it would be taken to factories to make bread and biscuits from flour. He told the children, to the above mentioned children, that the wheat which the farmer is going to grow, it would fetch a good price. You will get, that means, a good price by selling this wheat. He is going to sell it in the mandi, from where it would be taken to factories. Then from that mandi, that means people from factories, they will come and take it in the factories in order to make bread and biscuits from flour. So bread and biscuits, they are made from flour. So this wheat will go in the factories in order to produce this bread, biscuits, flour, etc. Bread, biscuits, which is made from flour, and flour, we get flour from wheat. This transformation from a plant to a finished product involves three types of economic activities. So, boys, this transforms means a marked change in form, that is called transformation. Okay, this marked change in form from a plant to a finished product means from plant we get wheat, then from wheat we get flour, again from flour we used to get uh, things such as bread, biscuits, like this. So from a plant to a finished product involves three types of economic activities. Here, three types of economic activities included, it involved here. These are primary, secondary and tertiary. Primary means occupations such as gathering, hunting, fishing, animal rearing, farming, and mining, etc. So here farming is here. So primary activity is here, that farming. Okay. Then come to the secondary. Secondary, it is an activity performed by a unit in addition to its principal activity. And then tertiary. Tertiary means transport, banking, education, health, etc. They belongs to that means this tertiary activities. So which give services like that. So these are the three activities we find here. Primary activities include all those connected with extraction and production of natural resources. So the first one, the first activity is primary one. So primary activities, it include all those which are connected with extraction, means to take out, and production of natural resources. Agriculture, fishing, and gathering are good examples of these primary activities. As I already told you, boys, gathering, hunting, fishing, animal rearing, farming, and mining, etc. These all are examples of primary activities. Now, secondary activities. Secondary activities are concerned with the processing of these resources. So, secondary activities is related with the processing of these resources. These resources, where they are processing. Manufacturing of steel, banking of, I'm sorry, boys. Manufacturing of steel, baking of bread, means in a bakery, bread are used to baking this. So, baking of bread and weaving of cloth are examples of this activity. They are belongs to secondary one. As I already told, this one also, it is an activity performed by a unit in addition to its principal activity. Manufacturing of steel, baking of bread, and weaving of cloth are examples of secondary activities. This all belongs to secondary activity. Tertiary activities provide support to the primary and secondary sectors through services. By giving services, these tertiary activities, it provides support to the above mentioned activities, which are primary and secondary sectors. It used to give services. Transport, trade, banking, insurance, and advertising are examples of tertiary activities. So, transport, trade, banking, insurance, education, okay, education, health, and advertising. These are the example of tertiary activities. In your higher classes, boys, again you will get primary, secondary, and tertiary, okay, activities. Again you will learn. So different work you can see here. Agriculture is a primary activity. So here agriculture, it is the main activity, primary activity. It includes growing crops, fruits, vegetables, flowers, and rearing of livestock. Agriculture, you see, in agriculture, it includes growing crops, fruits, vegetables, flowers, and to rear of livestock. In the world, 50% of persons are engaged in agricultural activity. In the world, 50% of people they are engaged in the activity of agriculture. Two-thirds of India's population is still dependent on agriculture. Out of all population, two-thirds of India's population still they're dependent on agriculture. Our country is an agricultural country. Okay, it is because of two-thirds of our India's population is engaged in agriculture. Favorable topography of soil and climate are vital for agricultural activity. Favorable, it refers to the area with good climate, fertile soil, natural resources, etc. Okay, so favorable topography. It includes growing crops, fruits, vegetables, flowers, and rearing of livestock, different animals like that. Okay, this all it is that means in the agricultural group. In the world, 50% of persons are engaged in agricultural activity. So in the world, 50% of people they are engaged in agricultural work. Two-thirds of India's population is still dependent on agriculture. So two-thirds of our India's population they are engaged in agriculture. Favorable topography of soil and climate are vital for agricultural activity. I have repeated this again, boys. So I already told you favorable topography. Topography that is here refers favorable means it refers to the area with good climate, fertile soil, natural resources, etc. So topography of soil and climate these are vital for agricultural activity. These are mainly member boys for agricultural activity. The land on which the crops are grown is known as arable land. Mark it, okay? You must mark with a pencil. See here, what is arable land? The land on which the crops are grown is known as arable land. You have to say like this, okay? In the map, you can see the agricultural activity is concentrated in those regions of the world where suitable factors for the growing of crops exist. So, in the map, which is given in the next page, that is page number 39, here you can see that agricultural activity it is concentrated in those regions or area of the world where suitable factors for growing of crops exist. Suitable factors, those factors which are required for growing crops. Okay, that is known here as suitable factors. So those regions of the world where suitable factors for the growing of crops exist. Okay, there you can see agriculture goes in a better way. Here, boys, do you know agriculture, sericulture, pisciculture, viticulture, horticulture? Agriculture, definition of agriculture, you see, the science and art of cultivation on the soil, raising crops and rearing livestock. It is also called farming. Okay, that means what we call agriculture. Okay, then sericulture, commercial rearing of silkworms. It may supplement the income of the farmer. Then pisciculture, breeding of fish is specially constructed tanks and ponds. Then viticulture means cultivation of grapes. Horticulture, growing vegetables, flowers, and fruits for commercial use. So for earning money. Okay. So here you find that different types of this culture and agriculture, sericulture, pisciculture, viticulture, horticulture. What are these? You can learn from here. Farm system. Agriculture or farming can be looked at a system. The important inputs are seeds, fertilizers, machinery, and labor. See here, farm system, agriculture or farming, it can be looked at as a system. The important inputs are seeds is required, fertilizers, machinery, and labor. These are required. These are related with the farming. Some of the operations involved are ploughing, sowing, irrigation, weeding, and harvesting. Some of the operations which are involved with the agriculture, these are ploughing. Ploughing means to plough the field, to till the field for growing crops. Sowing means to place seeds. Irrigation means supplying of water. Weeding and harvesting. Okay, like this. Up to that means harvesting means to cut the crops. So these are the operation which involved in agriculture. The outputs from the system include crops, wool, dairy, and poultry products. So these are the outputs from the system. Here in the above picture also you can see ploughing, sowing, spraying. Okay, with tractor, ploughing is going on. Then you can see it is used to sow in the field and spraying. This man he is spraying. Okay, it may be pesticides or insecticides in order to save crops from pests, insects like that. Sorry. Then process outputs, crops inputs, process outputs. Then crops you can see bundle of crops are here. Then physical inputs, sunshine, rainfall, temperature, soil, slope. Human input, storage, labor, machinery, chemicals. You can see here, okay. Some of the operations involved are ploughing, sowing, irrigation, weeding, and harvesting. So some of the operations which involved here in the agriculture are ploughing, sowing, irrigation, weeding, and harvesting. The outputs from the system include crops, wool, dairy, and poultry products. So these are the output from the agriculture. Types of farming. Farming has categorized here, boys. Let us see. Farming is practiced in various ways across the world, depending upon the geographical conditions, demand of produce, level and labor and level of technology. Farming can be classified into two main types. See, depending upon this, that means such as geographical conditions, demand of produce, labor and level of technology. Here, farming can be grouped or classified into two main types. These are subsistence farming and commercial farming. So, this let us discuss about this subsistence farming and commercial farming. What are these? Let us know it. Boys, to the left margin, you can see here interesting fact. Organic farming, in this type of farming, organic manure and natural pesticides are used instead of chemicals. No genetic modification is done to this to increase the yield of the crop. So in order to get good harvest, no genetic modification is required here. Now let us discuss subsistence farming. This type of farming is practiced to meet the needs of the farmer's family. Okay, so subsistence farming, it is a type of farming which is practiced in order to meet the needs of the farmer's family. Traditionally, as part of a long established custom. Okay, tradition remains here. Low levels of technology and household labor are used to produce on small output. Here you can see traditionally low levels of technology. The technology means the application of scientific knowledge for practical purpose, especially in industry like that. So, and household labor are used to produce in on small output. Subsistence farming can be further classified as intensive subsistence and primitive subsistence farming. Subsistence farming means here the practice of growing crops and raising livestock sufficient only for one's own use without any surplus for trade. Okay, means it practice for one's own self, not that means for commercial purposes. Then uh, you find here subsistence farming, it can be further classified as intensive subsistence and primitive subsistence farming. In intensive subsistence agriculture, the farmer cultivates a small plot of land using simple tools and more labor. Here, physical energy, it required more for the cultivator. In this type of agriculture, the farmer used to cultivate a small plot of land by using simple tools and more labor. Climate with large number of days with sunshine and fertile soils permit growing of more than one crop annually on the same plot. So climate with large number of days with sunshine and fertility of the soils, it allows growing of more than one crop in a year on the same plot, on the same land. Rice is the main crop. See, rice, it is the main crop. It is the staple food also. Okay, most of us. Other crops include wheat, maize, pulses, and oil seeds. Intensive subsistence agriculture is prevalent in the thickly populated areas of the monsoon regions of South, Southeast, and East Asia. So, intensive subsistence type of agriculture, it is practiced where in the thickly populated, where more number of people they are residing in those areas, and those areas are of the those areas are the area where monsoon occurred. Okay, that is monsoon region of South, Southeast, and East Asia. In this different part, this intensive subsistence agriculture is practiced. Primitive subsistence agriculture includes shifting cultivation and nomadic herding. Primitive in the primitive type of agriculture. You see, primitive subsistence type of agriculture. It includes here shifting cultivation and nomadic. Now let us discuss about what are the shifting cultivation and nomadic herding. Shifting cultivation was primitive means practice on small patches of land with the help of primitive tools. Primitive tools means with a pair of bullock, okay, and a sickle, spade, like that. Primitive subsistence agriculture includes shifting cultivation and nomadic herding. Shifting cultivation is practiced in the thickly forested areas of Amazon basin, tropical Africa, parts of Southeast Asia, and Northeast India. Shifting cultivation means it is a form of agriculture in which an area of ground is cleared of vegetation and practice cultivation for few years. Okay, such type of cultivation it is practicing in our Manipur also. Okay, by that means cutting down all the trees of hilly area. Uh, those people who are residing in the hilly area, they used to clear forest and used to grow crops. Boys, this type of cultivation, it is harmful for our environment and it is practicing for few years. Means in long last, it cannot be practiced in such a way because day by day the soil of that area become less fertile. So as and when soil of that areas become less fertile, cultivator they need to change their plot or land for agriculture. So it is practiced in the thickly forested areas of Amazon basin, tropical Africa, parts of Southeast Asia, and Northeast India. These are the areas of heavy rainfall and quick regeneration of vegetation. A plot of land is cleared by felling the trees and burning them. Felling means cutting, okay? A plot of land it used to clear by cutting down trees and burning them. Especially here in our Manipur also, boys, you can see in the month of February, March, most probably March, how that means in the rural area you can see how tribals they used to clean the forest, they used to cut down trees and burn it in order to grow crops. So they used to a plot of land is cleared by felling the trees and burning them. The ashes are then mixed with the soil and crops like maize, yam, potatoes, and cassava are grown. Here, you must know this yam means sweet potato. Okay, so ashes after burning the trees, ashes which remain there, it used to mix with the soil and crops such as maize, yam, potatoes, and cassava are grown. Okay, cassava also it is also a root crop there. It used to grow. After the soil loses its fertility, the land is abandoned and the cultivator moves to a new plot. So, I already told you earlier, after the soil loses its fertility, okay, after a few years, the soil it loses its fertility as uh, rainfall there. So, it used to wash away soil from the air, and as a result of this, soil become less fertile, and when this soil become less fertile, the land is abandoned and the cultivator moves to a new plot. Abandoned means having been deserted or left. Okay, that is called abandoned. It becomes deserted means nothing, no vegetation can easily grow there. So in such condition, cultivator they change their farm. Okay, again another place they used to cut down trees, they used to burn the trees and used to grow crops. Shifting cultivation is also known as slash and burn agriculture. You must know this one also. Shifting cultivation, it is also known as slash and burn agriculture. Now let us see nomadic herding. Nomadic herding is practiced in the semi-arid and arid regions of Sahara, Central Asia, and some parts of India like Rajasthan and Jammu and Kashmir. So, nomadic herding here, uh, what happened? It is practiced in the semi-arid and arid regions of Sahara. Here, semi-arid means dry but having slightly more rain than arid areas. Okay. Uh, as example, we can say Sahara, Central Asia, and some parts of India like Rajasthan and Jammu and Kashmir, where rainfall is very less to compare with other part of India. In this type of farming, herdsmen move from place to place with their animals for fodder and water along defined routes. So, in this type of farming, herdsmen they used to move, they used to go from one place to another with their animals for fodder. Fodder means food for cattle, okay, and other livestock, especially like hay, straw, like that, okay, and water along defined routes. And they used to go for searching this water also for their animals. This type of movement arises in response to climatic constraints and terrain. So this type of movement, the movement of this people, it arises in response to climatic constraints. Constraints means a limitation or restriction and terrain. Sheep, camel, yak, and goats are most commonly reared. So these animals are commonly reared there. They provide milk, meat, wool, hides, and other products to the herders and their families. So these animals, they used to provide, they used to give milk, meat, wool, hides, and other products to their owner. That means to those herders and their families. So here's the end of the first part of the chapter. Thank you all.